Hey gang, I want to offer some encouragement to you struggling, fledgling artists out there. I just reconnected with a friend of mine, an old buddy that I used to work with before I entered the music business. He's a good dude. We loved music, all of my friends back then. We were just obsessed with music. And he said to me back then, I quit my job, and it was a pretty good job. And I quit my job because once I got a record deal, and he's like, hey, do you think it's going to change the way you feel about music, like the way you enjoy music? And I was like, I actually thought about that, and I don't know. Now, the funny thing is after all these years, yes, it has changed, altered my enjoyment, my perception of music. I don't think I listen to it the same way. I still enjoy it as much, but it's different. It's definitely different. So that's one thing to consider if you're entering the music business because of what I'm about to say. And that is, you don't need validation from anybody to be an artist. You don't need validation from a record label. You don't need a hit song. You don't need a record deal. You don't need to have 1 million or 1 billion streams or whatever the hell it is. None of that really means anything or adds to your enjoyment of what you do as a creator or as someone who loves music. I can tell you this after 35 years of having that conversation with my buddy to today. It doesn't matter. Why? Well, I ran into a situation recently where I have a project that I had done with a friend of mine, I think about 15 years ago. And for various reasons, it got held up, but now it looks like it's about to get released next year. And I was pitching it to different labels. And what's funny is, beautifully, some labels actually responded. And because you won't get responses from everybody, which is insane. Because just tell us no. Just say, F off. I don't care. But you won't get responses from probably 80% of the people you pitch to. But beautifully, you will get responses from some of them. And then a few will take great care to give you some feedback. And that's really good too. The reason I bring this up is that one of the labels that I pitched to, and I think I pitched to them twice over the last 15 years, came to me and said, oh, why didn't you bring this project to us? And I was like, because I pitched it to you twice already and you didn't even respond. I think they responded once and said, no, this isn't for us. The second time they didn't respond at all. And this time they're telling us how great it is, but it's too late. It's already been picked up by another label. So you don't need validation from anybody. Why? Because they don't listen to everything. They're looking for something, but they don't listen to everything. They don't read everything that comes across their desk or their email inbox. They're not listening to everything. You'd think, since that's their job, our job's to create, right? And we work really hard at it. We put our heart and soul into it. Their job is to listen. That's your job. And then to promote it and get it out in the world. No, they don't do that. No offense, they don't do that. Not all of them. Most of them don't, okay? They're looking for something, and they're looking for something specific. And if you're not that, or if you're not that and you don't have somebody they know, i.e. a lawyer or an intermediary bringing it to them, they're not going to pay any attention to you. They probably won't read it. They definitely won't listen to it. So you don't need validation from anybody. What I would suggest, after all my years in the music business, take it with a grain of salt if you want, but what I would suggest is music can be a beautiful hobby. If you really, really, really love music and you don't need this validation, just do the best you can, be the best you can, and enjoy it to its fullest. But try not to get wrapped up in the business, because the business will squash you and kill you and maim you, and it might ruin you, and it'll be demoralizing. Now, if you have the psychological makeup for that, by all means, go for it. But don't lose your enjoyment of the music. So what I'm saying is, it's okay as a hobby. It's okay as an avocation. It's okay as your life's work. But just don't get wrapped up in the psychological aspects of who has what, and I need this, and I got to get that. It just doesn't work that way. And don't ever lose your enjoyment of the music. You'll start to learn over time. You'll start picking apart things more because now you're a pro and you know so much more about it. But never lose the joy of a child, honestly, with music, because that's really what it's about. Like the first time you heard that song that moved you to pick up a guitar for the first time. Okay? Cool. Go out there and get them.